How to prevent a genocide. Rwanda, marking 30 years since the slaughter of an estimated 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus, 100 days during which a stunned international community watched mostly from the sidelines. On that score, France's president slated to recognize the role and the failure of that international community to prevent the genocide of 1994. What can the world do when it sees the red flags of hate turn to annihilation? How to prevent the dehumanization that can lead to that horror? Today in the France 24 debate, we're asking about Rwanda 30 years on. With us, Etienne Nsanzimana, former president of the French chapter of the Genocide Memorial Organization, Ibuka. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
With us as well from Kigali is correspondent Clément Di Roma. Thank you for joining us. Later we'll be seeing one of the reports that you prepared ahead of this Sunday's commemorations. She covered the genocide in 1994. We'll have to be joined from Brussels by Colette Breekman, senior correspondent for Belgian daily Le Soir. Your reactions on the hashtag F24debate. We begin with breaking news out of the French presidential palace this Thursday ahead of Sunday's commemorations. A source telling the French news agency AFP that in a video message to be aired on Sunday for that 30th anniversary, Emmanuel Macron will be stating that France could have stopped the genocide with its Western and African allies, but did not have the will. Clément Di Roma, this is a major step.
It is a major step. Actually, France never went that far in the statements about the genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda. Actually, in 2021, if you remember, Emmanuel Macron had made a few statements saying that France has had a heavy responsibility in what happened in Rwanda, that he was carrying a lot of responsibilities in the massacres, but never specified. And he was based, these statements were based on a 900-page report by historians, a commission of historians that Emmanuel Macron himself named to try and bring back truth about France's activities during this period, during the 90s. And right now, you know, this type of statements, they are of course made to make the warming up of relationships between Paris and Kigali better, because Emmanuel Macron will not travel this Sunday for the 30th commemorations of the genocide against the Tutsis, but he will send Stéphane Séjourné's Foreign Affairs Minister, who will be there, probably to speak about cooperation going forward in the next couple of years with Rwanda. So you can see that these statements are made in the context of Paris getting ever closer to Kigali, which represents now an African ally on which they can rely on, of course, which is quite interesting when you see, because the relationships between France and Rwanda used to be very poor, and it all got better in 2021 with the France statement, with the Emmanuel Macron first statements at the time. And it seems like Paris and the Élysée wants it to continue. They still want to make these relations better in the future.
Etienne Nsanzimana, the relations between France and Rwanda since 1994, it's been stop and go. Things have warmed up and then cooled down again. In this particular case, your reaction when you heard about this statement that is due to be made on Sunday?
Yeah, thank you. I heard these news, and as most of us, before I came on the stage, and I think this goes beyond what Emmanuel Macron said in Kigali on May 27th, 2021, because he recognized the responsibility of France. He made a very strong statement in Kigali, but now he said that...
this was in 2021?
Yeah, it was in 2021. After the report that was conducted by the researchers, Vincent Duclerc, and this goes beyond this statement, and we are waiting for the statement that he's going. I learned that he's not going to Kigali this Sunday, but he will make a statement, and we are waiting for the statement with great hope, and we think that he will make other advancement.
Because just to remind our viewers, very early on, when the genocide begins, 10 Belgian peacekeepers are killed, and the international community steps back.
Yeah, it's important to remind everyone of that because the international community failed. There is a very shameful vote that took place on, I think, May 21st in the UN Security Council.
1994.
Yeah, 1994. And the force of MINUA was reduced during a genocide that were very known by every people. The five great powers decided to reduce the force. Let's not only talk about the French, but the entire international community failed. What is special with France that it had very tight ties with the government which was carrying the massacres in Kigali.
Yeah, this was at the time there had been close relations. The French had had military advisors in 1991 when a first outbreak of civil war happened at the time. Now, 4 years after the genocide, March of 1998, then U.S. President Bill Clinton goes to Rwanda and apologizes for what he would later recall the biggest regret of his presidency.
We did not act quickly enough after the killing began. We should not have allowed the refugee camps to become safe havens for the killers. We did not immediately call these crimes by their rightful name, genocide. We cannot change the past, but we can and must do everything in our power to help you build a future without fear.
Etienne Nsanzimana, Bill Clinton goes to Kigali 4 years after the genocide. It's now been 30 years, and after commissions, as Clément was saying, and studies, the statements are now getting stronger on the part of the French. Your thoughts on the fact that it's taken longer? You said a minute ago how France was implicated more deeply in what was going on in Rwanda before the genocide.
Of course, all the reports say that, and it's been a long way coming, but France is on its road to introspection. I think many big countries that were implicated in this genocide had come to Kigali and they said strong words as sorry, they apologized, but the French government, maybe we are on I'm waiting for the statement that will be taking place this Sunday, and we have an announcement that we are hoping that will come also. It's the erection. There is a monument that was promised by the French president to be erected here in Paris, in the memory of the genocide against the Tutsis. So I think France is making big steps, and I think we are in a path that the exchange that have in Kigali. When you go there, I go there very often. They have a new look at the French government. Before, when you went there, they told you, "Oh, you're coming from France, so how is it going? Is it very okay? They still hating us." So this has changed. I think maybe we are.
Did it change because of the fact that there's been prosecution of high-profile criminals from that period?
Yeah, I think they've been some steps from one party and another, but the French government realized that if they don't try criminals that are hiding in France, it would be impossible. And there were some diplomatic exchanges that are making things go very smooth right now. But we are every time we're looking forward that maybe there's something that's still not said yet.
Something that's still not said yet. Clément Di Roma, we heard that clip of Bill Clinton. He'll be representing the United States at Sunday's ceremony that'll be taking place where you are in the Rwandan capital. Can you put words to that, something that's still missing that Etienne just described?
Well, something that's still missing when it comes to relationships with foreign countries, for sure. I mean, France is one of these countries that never apologized today. And when it comes to prosecuting fugitives back in Paris, well, there isn't much progress made about that. I mean, France is trying to reassure Rwanda that progress will be made, but something seems to be missing still, because there's only 2, maybe 3 prosecutions every year, which is, according to a lot of survivors here in Rwanda, still not enough, which is, I mean, something they denounce at the moment. And France's positioning has never gone beyond recognizing responsibilities at the moment in 2021. So there's a lot of hope here in Rwanda that actually there will be excuses on Sunday, and that Emmanuel Macron will go further than the presidents before that came to Rwanda. Some of them will come back, like Nicolas Sarkozy, that was in Rwanda in the early 2000s to already start that dialogue with the Rwandan authorities. And it was cut off during the years with François Hollande, of course. And now Emmanuel Macron is really trying to make an ally out of Rwanda. And I mean, surely it's succeeding at the moment because there's many cooperations programs. But I think when it comes to survivors, when it comes to survivors associations, and when it comes to the government, they still expect more from France that indeed has a lot of responsibility that were proven and documented by many, many historians at that point.
We can now cross to Brussels. Colette Breckman, senior correspondent for Belgian daily Le Soir, your latest book in French, Mes Carnets Noirs, My Black Diaries, recalls your early days of reporting. And you covered the 1994 genocide. Were you surprised by the dispatch that came from the French news agency AFP that Emmanuel Macron is set to recognize the responsibility of France in the international community?
Well, I was not surprised. I just think that it was very late, but finally he did it, and that's a good thing. But now, as was already said, it has to go to court, because there are between 200 and 400 people protected living in France and still protected and still not being taken into court.
Still not being taken into court. For you, Colette, what is this 30th anniversary about?
What's it? Well, I think it's still, what I can see, I've been in Rwanda recently, is that the pain is still there, the pain, the memory, and it has not been repaired. Even from Belgium, Belgium has done a lot of procedures, lot of trials, but still it's not enough. The pain is not there, the pain is not political. You can have political gestures which are sometimes insufficient, but still the victims are still claiming for more justice.
Victims claiming for more justice. When you were there, did you get a sense that pain is what is unprocessed? Is it just the relationship with the international community?
Yes, the Rwandese have the feeling that the international community does not understand the fear that is still there, the fear that things may not be over. Of course, the regime, President Kagame, is explained that now Rwanda is safe, will not be aggressed, and the Tutsis are safe, and so. But still, inside, people don't like to say that very openly. But the fear is still there that maybe it's still fragile.
It's still fragile. Etienne Nsanzimana, do you feel as though there's reconciliation in Rwanda?
One thing that
officially, yes. Officially, yes. Officially, people live together. They never ask to each other who they are, if they are Hutu or Tutsi. It's forbidden that they don't ask, but everybody knows, and they have and I can understand that, they have a very long memory of what happens, because the story, it's a long story also. It's the story that started about 1 century ago in the 1930, when the Belgians give them ID cards written Hutu and Tutsi. Now this is abolished, but in the memory, in the mind of the people, it is not abolished, it's still there.
Etienne Nsanzimana.
let's not forget that 3/4 of Rwandans are under 30. So we are the generation, we are in minority, that experienced the genocide. So they're the young generation. We have a duty, we have a responsibility. I think it's
and
very,
that fear that
yeah.
Colette Brickman says is not expressed publicly. Do you feel as though that younger generation has it too?
But on your France 24, I saw many reports that are showing the new Rwanda. There's a vibrant generation that is aware of what happened in Rwanda. They don't erase the memory. And we are here to keep in mind that we have to talk, to tell about them, what happened, but they are seeing beyond. They are full of hope on the culture, economy, and everything. But still, in Rwanda, we still unearth some mass graves on a monthly basis. So they cannot forget. They see the scars. They know how we are very. We are not normal human beings. When you live in a country where some people plotted to get you erased from the earth, it cannot be normal. So I don't want people to see us with normal eyes, even if Rwandan raised from ashes. And it's amazing to see what they do. When I go there, I just can't imagine what they live on a daily basis. I'm living in Paris, and I know it's hard as a survivor, but when you are still in Rwanda and seeing people crossing, and you can go back to your village and see the destroyed homes, they are very strong people, and I'm proud of them.
Yeah, and there are those who fear that the memory of what happened could start to fade. And it's been 30 years. Clément Di Roma, you reported on the race to save accounts for posterity. Let's take a look.
These survivors of the genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda are sifting through thousands of files. Their organization is still looking for information about what led up to the massacres 30 years ago.
There may be new testimonies, and there may also be information about the preparation of the genocide. We want to make these documents accessible so that researchers who need them will have access to them, just like other people who want to know what happened during the genocide, how it was prepared, how it was executed.
After initial sorting, documents are digitally scanned and stored on dedicated computer servers. The group began updating storage of the archives in early 2022.
All these papers we sort here will be digitized. Without numbering and digitizing them, the archive process isn't complete.
Today, the preservation of documents related to the genocide is a national priority. Another NGO, Aegis Trust, focuses its efforts to safeguard history on collecting recorded accounts of what happened. This woman lost all of her children during the 1994 mass killings.
I was asked to testify, and I accepted because I'm sure that my story will help people heal from their traumas. It will help those who listen to me.
This center offers support to women who lost their husbands in the genocide. Many have shared their stories. The accounts are later translated into English and posted online. Every year, the time left to collect these perspectives grows smaller.
The elderly people are aging. They're starting to forget. So we mustn't miss this. We must use every possible means to record these testimonies while there's still time.
As part of its commemorative efforts, Rwanda will introduce digital tours of the 170 memorial sites that are also the final resting places of many of the victims of the genocide.
So Clément Di Roma, a laudable amount of work being done to remember. Rwanda remembers. Has Rwanda reconciled with itself, especially when you heard earlier Colette Brickman describe that unease, that nagging doubt, that fear that maybe, perhaps, one day something bad could happen again?
Well, I have to side with the representative of Ibuka that's sitting next to you at the moment. The government now says that Rwanda has reconciled itself. There is big reconciliation programs, actually. But what Rwanda really wants to, with these periods of commemorations, with Kwibuka, especially with the 30 years, is that young people, they're a big majority of the country right now, under 30 years, that did not live the massacres, did not live the genocide. Well, they want these young people to actually remember what happened, and that's the purpose of these types of commemorations, is that the youngest can learn, can also pay tribute to the fallen victims on the 170 memorial sites across the country. For them, it's a big national effort to really make that memory and really make this type of remembrance programs a part of the nation, and that's what they're doing right now. So for the government at the moment, it's not really a question of reconciliations. They assume and they show that reconciliation has been done. Of course, they say there's still efforts to do. They have a lot of programs in that sense, but for them, reconciliation has already been done.
Colette Breckman, those under 30s Rwandans, well, they've only known one leader in that time, Paul Kagame, who's going to be re-elected in July. He runs, to put it charitably, a tight ship when it comes to political opposition. Is what happens the day he's not there?
Well, he's still very respected. He's sort of the head of the pyramid. And what I can add to what was said before is that I met young people, Generation 25. That is the name they give to themselves, Generation 25, and they live together and they look to the future and they respect the president, but he's sort of the guarantee of peace. And well, he will have another mandate, that is almost for sure, but nobody knows after this mandate he will not live for ages. So nobody knows what could happen. But I think this generation, 25, they are young people and they really live together now. I have seen them, and that is, for me, this is a big sign of hope.
Big sign of hope, and the whole world is watching Etienne and Nsanzimana because, well, there are accusations of genocide floated about in lots of places around the globe. In 1994, hate was stoked thanks to radio stations like Radio Mille Collines. That was the mass medium of the time. Today we live in the social media age. Does that make it easier to create the kind of hate that would trigger a genocide?
I would say certainly yes, because I listened to Radio Mille Collines when I was young, and I know what it was saying, but it was quite okay. Many people didn't see the thing coming and the poison being in the population. But now there is another battlefield. As you put it, the social media is the new battlefield for the haters, for the genocide deniers. And what we have to do, and hopefully with the new generation in Rwanda, maybe they will embrace these tools and maybe take the battle where it's needed, because we know where it led Rwanda. And it's the mission of Ibuka, the association that I'm representing today, which means souviens-toi, remember. We are just in the awareness in schools everywhere. Just
so you can spread awareness like you spread hate.
Yeah, of course. And in Rwanda, they told people, neighbors, to go and kill each other. They did. Now in Rwanda, they tell people to go to do umuganda, to clean roads and and they do it. So if you don't have a good leadership, just to what was said now about the election and everything, people know what they owe to the leaders now, because Rwanda, where it is today, it's due to them. So they are not, just let them decide. They are now aware of what is good and what is bad.
We'll have to leave it there for now. So much more to talk about. Etienne and Nsanzimana, many thanks for being with us. I want to thank Colette Breckman for being with us from Brussels. Clément Di Romain, who'll be reporting on that 30th anniversary commemoration this coming weekend. Thank you for joining us from Kigali, and thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I was born here. I spent a day here, then crossed the border from France to Belgium illegally. They had to hide us under blankets.
Christophe is one of the thousands of children taken from their young mothers, women who gave birth anonymously in France, but also in Belgium, and were left with no choice.
Yes, I lost my child, my baby. It's so inhumane. I still can't really understand it.
Their babies were then sold in Belgium by Catholic organizations.
With total impunity, Thérèse Wan stole my childhood, my adolescence, our lives.
From Belgium to France and back, follow the children trying to retrace their origins and demanding answers at last.
Reporters on France 24 and France24.com.
C'était vraiment hyper sympa parce qu'il y avait énormément de monde sur le parcours. J'avais jamais fait une course avec un plateau, avec une tasse à café, un verre d'eau plein et un croissant. Et voilà, c'est très festif. Et puis c'était pour mettre en avant vraiment aussi voilà, ce qui fait l'ADN, la culture de Paris.
C'est nouveau, c'est une course, il y a tous les gens du métier, il y a vous les caméras, tout ça. C'est ce qui fait le moment un peu particulier, quoi. Mais non, c'est bien, ça fédère autour du métier. Et le Parisien et même la France entière, elle aime bien ces garçons de café. Voilà, la France des bistrots.
Mais je suis là parce que ça c'est un truc incroyable, c'est vraiment parisien pour moi. Moi j'adore le café de Paris, ça c'est la raison que je suis là, que j'habite là. Et ça c'est vraiment rigolo.